Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be learning how to make this jogger pants with elastic waistband and side pockets. It's a very simple tutorial and very beginners friendly. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So we'll be starting with the front part of our trouser. So I have this fabric in a fold of 2 already. So I folded it using my hip measurements divided by 4 plus 6 inches. So the extra 6 inches is for my crotch extension and for ease. So I have about 17.5 inches on fold here. So the first thing you want to do is to draw out a starting line at the top of your fabric. So from that line, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. This is because we're going to be having elastic at the top of our trouser. So this point I just marked out is going to be our elastic casing. So I'll fold it in to form our elastic casing. So this new line now is going to be the waistline. So I will taking all my vertical measurements from that point. So from this waistline now to my hip line is 9 inches. And from my waist to my crotch point is 13.5 inches. So I divided my round hip measurements divided by 4, which is 11.5 inches, and I added 2 inches to it to get my crotch depth. So the extra 2 inches I added is because the pants is going to be free and I don't want that place to be tight. So I have 13.5 inches for my crotch depth. So I'll just go ahead now and extend the lines horizontally. So this line I'm extending is my hip line and this is my crotch line. So right now we have our waistline, our hip line, and our crotch line. So the next thing you want to do is to mark your round hip measurements on your hip line. So for me, I have 11.5 inches divided by 4. My hip measurement divided by 4 is 11.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and add extra 1.5 inches to it, making 13 inches because I want the pants to be very free on the hip part. So I'll mark the same 13 inches on my crotch line. Mark the same 13 inches there, and then I'll just use my ruler and connect the line to meet my waistline. I'll connect the points to meet my waistline, just as you can see. So we won't be needing our round waist measurements for this pants because it's going to have elastic band at the top. So the next thing to do now is to extend our crotch. So for me, I'll be making use of 3 inches. So if you're on the small size, you can make use of 2.5 or 2 inches. So I'm making use of 3 inches here. So I extended my line now by 3 inches. Then I'll go ahead and just form a curve from my hip line down to meet my crotch extension, just as you can see me doing in the video. So I'll just extend it this way, forming a curve. So after forming the curve, this is what it looks like. This is what you should have as well. So I'll come over to the crotch line and come down by 2 inches. So this line is going to be my tie line. So I'll just extend the line horizontally this way. So my round side measurement divided by 2 is 13.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark it and I'll add half an inch for ease, making 14 inches. So I'll just connect it to meet my crotch line this way. So after connecting the tie line to the crotch, this is what we have. So the next thing to do is to mark the full length of our pants. So the full length of those pants is 39 inches, but I'm going to add 2 inches to it, making 41 inches. That is going to be for my elastic casing. So I'll just mark at 41 inches, but 2 inches out of it is for my elastic casing at the base. So right now, I'll place my ankle measurements divided by 2, which is 7 inches, and I'll go ahead and add 1 extra inch to it. So notice that if you want the base of your pants to be very free, you can add about 2 inches to it, but I'll be making use of 1 inch because I want it to be kind of fitted at the base. So I'll just go ahead and connect it now to meet my tie line, as you can see. So just go ahead and connect it this way. So after connecting the points, this is what it looks like. So we're almost done with the front part of this trouser. So I'll come over to the waistline and just come in by 1.5 inches. This is just to give our pants a little bit of shape at the waist points. And then I'll connect it to meet my fabric this way. But this is optional. So the next one I want to do is to cut it out. So go ahead now and cut it out. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up the closed angle of the trouser. So just open it up this way. So right now we're going to use the front panel to cut out the back panel. So I'll show you guys how to do that now. So for the back panel, I have folded my fabric into two already, as you can see, and I placed my front panel on it. So I made sure the fabric is 2 inches higher than the front panel. My back panel is going to be 2 inches higher at the back, at the center back, because of the butt, so that it can accommodate it well and it won't be too tight. So I'm just going to go ahead now and extend these lines as well by 2 inches. So remember that when we were drafting out in our front panel, we did not add seam allowance. So this 2 inches is going to be our seam allowance. So I'll go ahead and extend the crotch points by 2 inches also. I'll extend the line this way. So I'll just go ahead and connect the points together. So this extra is just for our seam allowance and to accommodate our butt very well. So I'll come over to the tie line and just come in by 1.5 inches all the way down. So I'll just mark 1.5 inches all the way down, and then I'll connect the points together. So after doing that, before we cut the back panel out, I'll come over to the upper part. Remember I went up by 2 inches, and then I will slant it to meet the other side of the waist, because we only want that 2 inches at the center back for ease. So slant it this way. So the next thing we want to do now is to cut out the back panel. So after cutting out, this is what we have. I'm just going to rip the sides opened. So after cutting out the front and the back panel, the next thing I want to do is to close up the crotch point. So take it to my sewing machine and stitch it all the way down using 1 inch seam allowance. I'll do the same thing for the back part, and when I'm done joining the pieces together, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after joining the crotch parts together, this is what it looks like. So I'll just go ahead and open it up. This is the front part and this is the back. So I'll place them right sides facing each other, and I'll match the crotch points together. So I'll just use my pin to secure the crotch parts together, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch it all the way down. I'll start with the crotch point first, and then I'll join the pants this way and use 1 inch to stitch it all the way down this side, and then I'll stitch it all the way down to the full length on the other side. So make sure you start joining from the crotch parts to match the points you joined together. So after joining the crotch parts together, this is what we have. This is what it looks like on the wrong side. So before I go ahead to close up the sides, we'll be having inseam pockets on the side. So I have this fabric, leftover fabric here already. So this is just 2 pieces. So I'll go ahead to fold it because I'll be needing 4 pieces of my pocket. Then I'll place my hand on it this way, and I'll just use my chalk to just draw it out this way. Make sure you have your seam allowance to it so that your pocket will not be too tight. So just draw it out this way, and then I will go ahead and cut it out. Go ahead and cut it out. So right now I have 4 pieces of my pockets. So next thing I'll show you guys how to attach the pockets to your trouser. So to insert our pocket, I'm going to go over to the waistline, and then I'll come down by 3 inches. So I'm going to insert my pocket on the 3 inches mark from my waistline this way. So place the right sides facing each other, and then I'll just pin it down. Make sure the right side is facing the right side of your pants on the side, and then pin it down this way. Then for the other part, I'll place the right side facing each other as well. I'll come down 3 inches too at the back and place the right sides this way. So after I'm done securing with my pins, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and just stitch it down on this part, and then I'll stitch it down on the other side. Then when I'm done doing that, I would just turn my pants this way, turn it to the wrong side, turn it to the wrong side this way, and I would match it together. This is after stitching. I wish I top stitch also as well on it after I stitch the pocket before I join together so that it won't be coming out. So I'll place it this way now, and then I will stitch it all the way down, close up the pocket. Just follow what I'm doing. I'll stitch it down, go around it this way, and then I will close up the side of my trouser. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I'll close it up all the way down, stitch it all the way down. So when I'm done fixing the pockets for this side, I would go ahead and fix the pockets for the other side and show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So after closing up the sides of the pants, this is what it looks like. So this is the pocket by the side, and this is the other pocket. So the next thing we want to do now is to form our elastic casing at the top. Remember the line we marked for our waistline then while we're drafting it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold in the waist. I'll fold in first by 1 inch and fold in by another 1 inch, making sure that that line is my waistline, just like I explained earlier. So I'll go ahead and stitch it all the way around. I'll fold it in this way and stitch it all the way around. So while stitching, I'll make sure I leave about 1 inch gap, for that's where I'll be passing my elastic band through. So I'll come over to the base as well and fold in 1 inch and fold in another 1 inch, and then stitch it all the way around. I'll also leave a space to pass in my elastic band. So when I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after forming our elastic casing on the waist, this is what it looks like. I also did the same thing at the base of my pants, as you can see, and I left the space for passing in my elastic. So we'll be working with this elastic for the waist, and we'll be working with the smaller ones for the base. So the length of elastic I'm using is my round waist measurement, which is 36 inches, and I subtracted 10 inches from it, making 26 inches. So my elastic band is 26 inches long without pulling it. So I'll just go ahead now. I'll attach the elastic band to my pin and then pass it in through the space I left on the band. So I'll just keep pulling it this way, just the way you're seeing me doing in the video. So I'll pass it all the way around until it gets to the other side of the opening. So after passing in the elastic band on the waistline, this is what it looks like. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and just stitch it down. I could just sew it in the form of a box so that it's going to be very firm. I'll just stitch it down there, and then I'll close up the opening when I'm done. So for the base, I'm going to pass the elastic band just the way I passed in for the waistline. So the length of elastic band I cut out for this lower part is just my round ankle measurements divided by 2, and I added 1 extra inch just for joining. So when I'm done doing that, I will show you guys the finished product of the top. I'll also go ahead and close up the points where I passed in the elastic bands through. So guys, this is the finished product of our jogger pants with elastic waistband. You can see how beautiful it looks and how easy it is to make. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.